Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Anderson. I am a freelance artist and teacher hoping to inspire creativity. If you would like more videos like these, please take a second to like and subscribe down below. It really helps in the algorithm of YouTube to help get my videos seen to more people. If you want to receive notifications of when I go live, please make sure to hit the bell and choose all notifications. If you have any questions during or after the class, make sure to pop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I can. If interested in learning more about my classes, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And feel free to check me out on Patreon, where I teach exclusive classes to those who support me. In Patreon, I also give traceables for all of my live classes, including this one. Lastly, if you would like to share your work after class with me and others who painted along with us, please head over to Facebook, as I have an artist community where you can share your finished painting with us. I'll leave links for all of that in the description box below. Thanks for joining me, and let's get started. Alright, hello, and welcome back to another YouTube tutorial here on this channel. My name is Samantha, and I'm so glad that you are here and painting with me today. So if you are gonna paint with me, make sure you get out all your paints and supplies and canvases, grab a friend, grab a coffee, and whatever else you would like to grab. So we're gonna have lots of fun today. Today is a fairly simple concept in theory for our trees and everything. But if you've never done trees before, it might be, if it's something new to you, just keep at it. This is a great class to start trees on because there's a lot of them and you'll get a lot of practice. But it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to start painting. So let's go over some supplies and then we'll jump right in, okay? So just to start, I have an 11 by 14 stretched canvas, and then I do have a traceable. Now, I will not be using the traceable, but we will be kind of putting in some of these lines to get a general idea of where all of our elements are. So if you want this traceable, it is available to patrons over in my Patreon. There is a link in the description as well as in the chat that I have put in there, and you're gonna go ahead and grab that. If you do not want to use the traceable, that is totally fine. Some people would rather have something that they can just go by rather than kind of draw it on your own. This is a very general sketch, just because it doesn't really matter. Nature is always very free-flowing, and it's not symmetrical. Most of the time it's not symmetrical, so if you just get like the gist of this, that is perfect. But if you are someone who wants the traceable, that is available on my Patreon, and you will get access to every other traceable that I've ever done for YouTube within that tier. So if you join today, you'll have access for a month. And you'll have access to everything for a month. And anything that you download is yours, and it just helps my family keep doing what I'm doing, and it helps support these free classes. So feel free to go and grab that. Even if you just want to support, you can grab it. If you want to use it, great. If not, that's totally fine too. For the colors, today is super duper simple. So I'm gonna have my black, white, and raw umber, and then I'm just gonna have a variety of yellows and reds. So I have my yellow, my red, and my orange, and these are full body acrylics. Don't be fooled by the little bottles. They are from Hippie Crafter Acrylics, or from Hippie Crafter, I love having bottles because when I put out too much, I can just plop it right back in the bottle, and it's actually really handy for when I overestimate how much paint I need, and I have untouched paint, I can just put it back. So I have that, these colors, and then I probably will have some sort of a green on hand. Just there's a couple little things in here that I'm like, oh, I could add a little bit of green to that. But just having it on hand makes it easier to grab if I want to use it. So again, I have my white, black, raw umber, which is a dark brown, and then my yellow, red, orange. and then I also have a green off to the side. All of these supplies can be found in my Amazon shop. Everything I use, including my palette, my brushes, my canvases, all of the things that I use. I have a little palette knife set that I use in every single class. Everything is on my Amazon shop. So if you want to go check it out, I have favorites, and then I also have kits that I would recommend, or are either what I use or close to what I use or what I have used in the past, that I can vouch for, or that I've bought for students and things like that. So feel free to have a look at that. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. There's also, I have a whole list for kids, for like car rides and things like that. There's some like kids art things, that's got like water painting and other fun supplies. So feel free to go check that out. That link is also in the description. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. So I have traceable canvas paint. And again, that's full body acrylics. It's not the craft acrylics, which you would usually find in those types of bottles. And then for the brushes, I'm going to be using, I'm going to get out like what I normally have for these types of classes. I have a large filbert for the background, a small filbert for details, and then I have a couple round brushes. One is one's going to be my like texture brush or cloud brush, things like that. We're going to be adding some texture to the mountain, so feel free to grab one of those brushes. I have a smaller brush, a liner brush, and then I have a couple of these. These are hog bristle. These are hog bristle fan brushes. And these are also on that Amazon shop, same thing. And I've been using these for a while. I really love them. I wouldn't say they're cheap in cost, but I don't feel like they're cheap in how they were made. So this I feel like was a really great steal. I think it was like $13 to $15 for a set of like, let's see, how many did it come with? Maybe like 5 or 6. Maybe, I don't remember. I use mainly 3 of them. Well, I use these 2, but I have another one out, and those are the ones that I use mostly. So I have those out. I have a palette knife for pre-mixing all of my colors, and that is really helpful for something like this, where you just want to grab color and go. You don't want to be mixing every little color right before you put it on, because things will dry. It's not gonna go on correctly. So I would highly recommend, especially if you're a beginner and trying to get smooth backgrounds, blending, anything like that, you're gonna want to pre-mix your colors. It's a really helpful tool. And then you can also see all of your colors and see that they work with each other before you ever get them on the canvas. And then last week I was gifted some brushes from Golden Maple over on Amazon. They have their own website and everything like that. I will link this kit down below, but it's actually a detail kit for, I think, painting miniatures and stuff like that. But the one thing that I was interested in were these really small brushes, and these are so soft. I've been playing with them for like days. They're very soft and they're round, so they fit in the palm of my hand. That's like a fidget. But they're so soft. But one thing, I didn't really have any tiny brushes, so having these on hand are really helpful. There's a 0, but let me tell you, that is not the smallest one. They come in like really tiny brushes. Like this is a half. I think there's a 1/3 and a 1 maybe, but look how tiny. I haven't even opened it, so you can't really see just how tiny it is. If I ever need to use it, I am excited. But so I was excited to have some detail brushes for those details, because I have been doing a lot of realism lately, and all of my small brushes are they're gone. Not gone as in like I lost them. They're just, even some of my smaller brushes, I'm using them, right? I'm using them constantly, and they get old and get frayed, and it happens with time. So I also was excited for these. It comes in a smaller size too, but I just got these out. These are like texture brushes, so I'm gonna try them versus using this one, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I think about them, because I'm really interested to see how they work on the canvas versus just like painting miniatures for like D&D or something like that. So I will see how I like them and see if I would recommend them, because I don't know, I'm really excited for them. But yeah. Okay, so those are the brushes I have. And don't be worried if you don't have the exact brushes that I have. I have a lot of different brands. I'm currently working on getting some sort of like personalized kit. I'm working with Famui on that. I've talked about them before. And I think I have watercolor brushes from them. So I got this watercolor kit. The review is on my channel if you want to go check that out. But they have pretty good watercolor brushes, and I'm working with them on getting a personalized acrylic painting kit where you can buy literally the kit that I use, because a lot of my brushes are getting old anyways, so I'm excited to kind of just upgrade and get a whole new kit. But yeah, I don't know when that will come in. I'm still working with them. They're talking with the factory, but I'm really excited for that. So that's a lot of brush talk. I apologize. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and there's a lot going on. Yeah, but just to clarify, the company I'm working with for the brush kit is Famui, and the kit that this is from is Golden Maple. So there's two different companies that I was working with currently. But okay, so yeah, let's go ahead. And why is my camera like going in and out of color? That's weird. Maybe it's not seeing me. Ooh. I don't know. If it's too far in the light, then it just like washes me out. I don't know, man. It's being weird. That's fine. Whatever. Okay, as long as you can paint. As long as you see the canvas, that we're good. We're good as long as you can see the canvas. Okay, I believe that is it for supplies. Obviously, you have your water, paper towel. I have a palette knife. I have a scraper so I can scrape off my palette. This is my favorite palette that I've ever painted with. I don't plan on ever changing because it is fantastic. I can clean it off in the middle of class, which I've done many a time. And it's really easy to clean. Even if it's been sitting for a week, I can just get it wet, wait a couple minutes, wait 30 seconds, and then it's super easy to clean. That is also in my in the description in my Amazon shop. So, but yeah, I think we are all ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's see what we got here. What is it doing? My camera's being really weird right now. Whatever. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and create some of these colors. So you might think that the background of the sky is white. It's actually a really cool, maybe it's a warm gray. It's a very medium gray, maybe like a brownish gray. So we're going to go ahead and create three main colors. We're going to create the three sections that we have here. So we have the sky, we have the mountain, and then we have this black void that is the forest. So we're gonna go ahead and create that, but before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and figure out where everything is. Now, if you have the traceable and you use the traceable, you can just hang on for a second, because we will be doing essentially what's on the traceable. And I realized that I threw the traceable on the ground out of reach, so give me a second. So this is tiny little spaces. So this is the traceable again. So this goes about, you want to think about in thirds. So this goes pretty much right in the middle, and in the middle of the like the third. And then the sun actually goes all the way to the right side. So if you are using the traceable, this tree right here is all the way to the right side. So that's how you would put it in on your canvas. If you did put the sun right in the middle, that's totally fine. It doesn't really matter. But we're gonna go ahead and get out some white, black, and brown, and we're just gonna start with that. So I have quite a bit of white here because most of this upper canvas is going to be that white. So I'm just grabbing a bunch. And theoretically, we won't have to do 2 coats on this white background, the white sky, because of just how light it is, and it's light color going on a white canvas. So theoretically, we shouldn't need that much of that many coats. So we should just need 1. I'm gonna go ahead and take this white and just a little bit, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of black off to the side here to create a little bit of a gray. And I put it right here because I'm going to end up using that in my other colors anyways, so that's totally fine. I'm gonna grab one of my round brushes. It can be a medium to small one, and grab some water. You're gonna mix it into just that little bit of gray paint. And we're just gonna figure out where we are. So again, if you have this, and you know where you want everything, then that's perfect. Then you really don't have to, you can skip this step. But for everybody else who's painting with me, just like I said, if you put this in thirds, go all the way to the middle, and a tiny bit to the left, that's gonna be your, or sorry, a little bit to the right, that's gonna be your sun. So I'm just gonna put a little dot there. That is where the sun is. And just right next to the sun is going to be this little ridge. And we're just going to create our little mountain top. It doesn't have to look like this, but it's just the general shape. And you can always change it later. And now that I have something that I know I like, I can kind of come in with a bit of a darker line. This is just a generalization. It doesn't have to look like this in the end. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and make this color. And we're going to make a gray. So I just kind of scooped all that gray that I already had into that white. It's going to be a pretty medium gray. So a little bit of black, maybe a tiny bit of brown. Since we're only doing 1 coat of this, we're gonna want it to be pretty thick. So try not to skimp out on how much you're making, because you don't want to have to remake to try to get the same color. And we're going to be using whatever leftover we have in this gray, so don't worry about making too much at this point. And don't worry about the trees right now. We're going to put we're going to sketch in some stuff in just a bit. Alright, so I think that is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and grab my large filbert. We're gonna go ahead and get it wet just so it's not totally dry. I'm gonna start off with the top. And I think that's going to be a great color. So I'm just going to keep going. And we're just going to go ahead and put on a fairly thick layer of this gray. And maybe just for a little bit of effect, I'm gonna grab some white here. And I'm going to make sure that right where the sun is, I'm gonna make it just a little bit lighter. So have a tiny bit of gradient. And now that I'm doing this, I think even with a light coat, we still might need that second coat, which is totally fine. So we're gonna go ahead just with this gray, figure out where our how far down we're gonna need to come with our trees. And the trees come up to about here. You can kind of see some peeking through the trees, so we're going to want to make sure to go all the way down to that point, so that when we come over with that color, or like that color will be in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of black in this gray. Maybe a tiny bit of brown. We're just gonna put a first coat on this. This one's gonna have a lot more coats, so if you want this coat to be a little bit more translucent, that is totally fine. So just with this same color, I'm just kind of coming in and re-outlining the kind of hills that I put in. And I actually realized that when I was looking at this, I wasn't looking at the whole photo, and the sun actually is in the middle of the, it's actually in the middle of the canvas. So if you wanted to move your thing, we can actually do this. If you wanted to move this, now is the time to do it. So I'm actually going to re-put this in. Comes down here, is a little thing here, and then this thing comes out right here. Because this part we actually don't see, because this has trees on it. Sorry about that. I think when I was looking at my my photo reference, it wasn't like all the way like zoomed out. So I was looking at it with a little bit zoomed in, so I couldn't see that it was actually in the middle. And don't worry about the outline right now. We can always add a more definitive line. We're just getting the basics here. And this is after it comes about here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do a quick layer of of black. And I'm having it pretty watered down in terms of opaqueness, and it's just going to be like a quick wash. And if you've never done a wash before, it's just really watered down paint. It goes on fairly translucent. It goes on really quick. And because it's mostly water, it also dries very quick too. Once you get it on there, you can always add more to make it less translucent. But the process of getting it on there is a lot easier when you have a little bit more water. All right, you got like this going up here. Just for now, I'm just going to grab my paints and go up into this. can always go back over the whole thing. I'm gonna add some of this black right here. My main goal right now is just to cover up all of the white. And now with a little bit more black, I can come in and start shaping a little bit. I have a little bit more black and I can kind of start figuring out where things are. Now if you already have this on the canvas, you might be able to see this through your black if it is a little bit more on the translucent side. I'm not sure what my canvas is doing. I think it's like, I think because it's so wet, it looks like it's really black, but it's not as black as it's showing. I think just the angle. Yeah, it's the angle of it. Okay. And we're gonna add some more black in this area. This is all still wet. Right. So that's a general direction where we're going. All right, so now that all of this is placed, we're gonna go ahead and rinse out our brush. I'm gonna go ahead and put a second coat on my just everything, because I can, even though this was a pretty thick coat, I can still see snippets of the little tiny bits of the canvas through that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a second coat. It'll just be easier, and then I won't be looking back at it being like, I wish I would have done a second coat. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, this is the color that I was using before, and I think I want to go just a tad bit browner, and I might even add a little bit of like an orange of some sort, because I feel like I want it to be just the tiniest bit like warmer. So I'm gonna grab just the tiniest bit of orange. Now be really careful with the orange because it will take over your color. So just the tiniest bit. And that will warm up the sky just ever so slightly. but I don't really want it to get any darker. So the challenge is changing the color without getting it darker. So you have to change the color and then add more white, and then adjust the color again, add more white, kind of play around with it. All right, so I think that is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and grab some white and just put that in real quick. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start from the top again. And because the first coat was fairly thick, putting on a second coat of this should be really, really easy and really, really fast. I'm excited to see what this slightly warmer color looks like. You can see how much more solid of a color this looks. And that's not because of the color, that's mainly because it's just because it's a second coat, not because of the color. I have some black in my brush. That looks so much better. When in doubt, do another coat. And I'm going to go a little bit into my white. I'm going to grab this white and just mix it in with mostly that bottom section. That looks lovely, a lovely color. All right, I'm gonna rinse out my brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and move to a smaller brush. But first, we're gonna go ahead and create our colors that are gonna go in here. Now you'll notice there's like the kind of warmer tone of the mountain. There's the cooler color of the rocks. There's the warm color of the orange trees on the mountain, and then there's also some snow. So there's a bunch of different colors here. I'm going to keep this sky color for the snow. That might sound weird. You're why wouldn't you just do white? Because white, it's not white. It would be white if it was like in the sun, but not only is the sun setting, but it's not in direct sunlight, it's in the cool color of the shadow. So it's going to be reflecting the sky. And what color is the sky? It's this color. So we are going to leave that for our snow on the mountaintop. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and just clean off some of this, because this is all just going to be dry in like, I mean, it's already dry, but it's taking up a lot of my canvas. So I'm just going to take this, and this is like literally the most satisfying thing. It's satisfying because it's like visually satisfying. It's also satisfying because when I first started these classes online during COVID, I think, yeah, oh my gosh, COVID. So during COVID, I was just using what I would use at my like party gigs and things like that, because I would go to a party and teach a class or teach a paint night for adults, for kids, for all the things. And I would use these little round, you can get them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, the Dollar Tree, whatever, wherever you would need to get them. And they have 8 to 10 pots. And I would use that, but they were plastic. And if paint was thin and got dried on there, oh my gosh, you'd soak them and then you'd have to scrub them. And it was just the bane of my existence. So having this, it's just a reminder that like I'm not using those plastic potted ones anymore. It's just, bless. Okay, so that's gonna dry. Let's go ahead and grab some more white. We need more black on here, some brown, and then we're probably we're just making a darker version of the sky, really. So we're gonna use all the same colors that we used in the sky, which the magical code was that orange there. We're gonna add black. We're gonna add black. We're going to add brown, and we're gonna add a tiny bit of orange. I think I added just a tiny bit too much brown. Maybe not. Oh, it looks so brown on my palette, but when I put it up to the colors that are in that might be fine. Maybe a little bit more black. Always test your colors on your canvas, guys. If you haven't, like, if I would have pre-made all these colors, that would have been one thing, but because I put a color on there and now I'm pre-mixing the second color, don't compare it to what's on your palette. Compare it to what's on your canvas. So if I take a little bit of this and I'm like, does that work? And I can go from there and based off of what, you know, what's up there. So I'm going to put a little bit of this off to the side, and I'm going to mix a little bit more black in here. I also think it might be too dark, maybe. We're not using a palette knife, but if you wanted to use a palette knife for this mountain, you can. If you're into that, I have other tutorials that teach you how to use like a palette knife for mountains and snow and things like that. Okay, so I'm gonna use my small filbert. Put a little bit of wet. And we're going to all right. So we have, my water bottle's in the way. So we have our dark color. I would say that that's probably the darkest color. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this up top, but I'm probably not gonna use it for like anything else because it is really dark. And I just added a little bit of white here at the bottom and just let it mix in with the paint that was already on my brush. Let's see, I'm gonna grab a smaller brush so that I can put in the detail of this mountain. And this is the point when you can start shaping the outline of your mountain. I think I'm actually doing this lower than I had planned on doing. I think it's actually right here. And I'm just going to wipe away the paint right here. This is to tell my brain that this is where the sun is. And I'm just going to do this. You don't have to do that, but it's reminding myself that there's a sun here. Alright, I'm going to grab this and fill in the rest of this side. Okay. Alright, I'm just looking at my thing. So again, it doesn't have to look exactly like the reference. We're just using the reference as a, as a guide, as a reference to reference. Okay. So now I'm gonna go ahead and make a slightly lighter color. I'm going to take some of this and just put it off to the side. And we're going to add a little bit of white to this. And I'm going to grab this texture brush. If you don't have one of these, you can just grab your cloud brush or whatever else that you like to use for texture. And we're just going to, I'm just going to add some texture to this. I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of white to my paint. And we're going to start putting in some parts of here that are kind of coming down. I'm going to pull from this section down, right? Add a little bit more white. So every time I add like a new layer, it's got just a tiny bit more white to it. I'm gonna go ahead and just boop, just kind of stipple a little bit of the stuff on top. I will say that this is doing a really good job of like blending because it's got such like a wide like roundness. It's doing a really good job of like dry brushing essentially, which I do a lot, so that's really cool. There's also like a rock over here. I'm just gonna kind of put that in for later. The only thing that I would say that is not a strong suit of this brush would be details, just because it is so wide. But that's just not what you would use it for. It's really good for dry brushing in big areas and mixing that together. So that's been really nice. I am going to switch over to my other brush, however. Right now I'm just kind of fixing this section right here. At least on my end. There was a part that you could still see through. So that's another good reason to keep your background color in case you have to go back over it at any point. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the rock color. So I'm going to grab the background color and just add a little bit of this black to it. Sorry, not the background color, the mountain color. And I'll grab a little bit of black, and we're just going to randomly put in some different shapes. You can dabble, you can dot, you can get a texture brush out if you want, or like a stipple brush. I'm going to go ahead and right where it is closest to the sun, I'm going to get that background color and just add a little bit of white to it. I'm also going to grab just a tiny bit of orange, mix it, do the same thing and add it, and I'm going to brush it out. And then with this same orange, we'll be able to put our little pieces of orange around here. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab our sky color and put in some of this snow. And for this, I'm really trying to envision where there might be like mountain ledges and like just where there might be some flat spots. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and put in some other colors over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a texture brush. So I'm going to grab a fan brush, and I'm just going to add a bit of randomness. You can grab a little bit of the lighter colors. And I'm gonna be a little bit bold here. I'm gonna go into my sky color for the snow, and I'm just going to draw in some of this Alright, so you're really just adding a bit of randomness. I'm going to go ahead with my orange. I'm going to maybe add a little bit of black to it. I'm going to add some of this color in here. Some trees. Maybe it's just leaves, I don't know. All right, there is our mountain. I'm going to just really focus in with the mountain tops and make sure that those are in. Any trees that you want to put at the very top of those. Alright, and now we can put in our sun. So I'm just going to grab some white and I'm first just going to put in a circle. I am going to grab a little bit of yellow. I'm going to pull that white out ever so slightly. It's going to be a little bit watered down. I'm going to mix a little bit of my yellow and orange together. And I'm going to try to focus on just making little triangles that connect all at the sun. And then we'll end up putting more layers on this that slowly build up. So the triangle, the point is at the actual sun, and then it fades out. You see that? And you can make your sun rays as dramatic or as subtle as you would like them. I'm going to fill this back in with my orangey white and allow that to dry. Before I come and give another layer to the sun rays. Alright, because it's looking pretty good, but we have a couple more. We have a couple more layers to do. So we have a little less than an hour to finish up all these trees. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and do another layer of my black, at least in the spots that it's very, very dark. I need more black. There we go. So again, I'm just filling this, all my black in. And if you did the light sections like I did, just leave those alone for a second. We're gonna come back and kind of give some tree texture around them. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out this brush because from here on out we're gonna be using mostly our tree brushes. So whatever brushes you want to use for trees, that is what we are going to be doing. And for this rock here, we are going to go ahead and on the top, we're going to make a top, make a fairly not straight, but not blended. So line with black. So there's that, and then once we have that, we're gonna go ahead and blend this bottom section, and I'm just using black. I'm gonna blend out. going to put some rock textures in there. So I'm just, you can pull, you can push depending on the brush that you're using. I'm using a texture brush, so it doesn't matter which way it goes. If you want to keep the integrity of your brushes, make sure you pull away from the bristles. So this is just a little rock in here that it'll peep through the trees. Can add a couple more of these. Which is very easy. You're just adding a little bit of that gray and then coming back in with some white. Alright, so that's what mine looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and grab a tree brush, whatever you want to use for your trees. And I'm going to grab this black. And just in here, and you're going to essentially add a tree on either side of that opening. And you're also going to add a tree-like top to all of this. And this is going to act as the barrier between the black and the rest of it. And this is the place that if you've never done trees before, here's the part where you get to practice. So practice on this section right here because most of this is going to get covered up. So if you've never done trees, you can start here. You can get your tip and you can rock back and forth. And this is how you can practice using different parts of your brush. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and add that top. And essentially the rest here, there's going to be a couple, like maybe one dark one. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this. If you are, if you don't have a fan brush and maybe you want your trees to be maybe a little bit more detailed, you can grab a filbert brush, and you can do the same thing. adds a little bit more detail. I'll add one more right here. You get a little bit of a top, and then you start going downwards. You can either pull your brush down to create downward leaves, or you can point it upwards to create leaves that are going, like branches that are going up. So that's up to you. It's up to you. All right, now we get to the even more fun part. While that all dries, we're gonna go ahead and create the colors that we're gonna use for our trees. So our orange trees. So much more satisfying when when you get it wet first. Then you don't have that awful sound. That is much better and much easier. Okay, it's funny, some classes I don't clean at all, and then other classes I clean like all the time. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and, oh, actually before we do our colors, we're going to do one more coat, another coat of our white. And we're going to pull out just the tiniest bit, just so that it goes into the sun rays, but not a whole bunch. Okay, so we have that. We're also going to grab a liner brush. If you don't have a liner brush, just grab the smallest brush that you have. And we're gonna put in a couple tree tops. This is just the trunks. So we're gonna figure out where these are gonna go. And if it's not coming off of your brush very well, then make sure you have enough water on your brush, like in your paint. We're just gonna put a couple here. All right, so now that we have those, we have a little bit more, like, we kind of know what to go off of. All right, so while that all dries, let's go ahead and create our orange colors. I have orange, yellow, and brown out, and we're gonna get green out in just a little bit. We're gonna go ahead, actually while that all dries, before we start mixing, I'm gonna go ahead and show you what we painted last week and what's going on here in Patron. So last week we painted this beautiful painting. I love how it came out. The colors are beautiful. It is such a pretty soft sunset with the moon right there, and it came out so pretty. So this one is on YouTube. It's a free tutorial. You can go on my channel. If you're watching this premiere live, then it should be the last one that I painted. And if not, I do have a playlist with like water or sunsets, and it should be in one of those, and you can head on over there and paint it there. And then over in my Patreon, I haven't painted the one for this month yet. I will be painting that probably next week. I think it's when it goes out. Last month we did this pretty dog. So if you have a little puppers or a puppy or dog, I call all dogs puppies, so it's fine. It's a dog, but it's a puppy. If you have a dog that you want to learn how to paint pet portraits, or you have a family member who you want to paint a dog for, this is a great tutorial to do that. I also have cats and birds and horses and all sorts of stuff in my Patreon and on my channel, so make sure you go and check that out. If you want to paint this one specifically, it is in my Patreon at the $10 level, and this was the last one that we painted, so it'll just be under the collections tab of Magenta or Friday tutorials, and you can go and paint that one. And then yesterday we finally finished our autumn leaves and river, and look at how beautiful this turned out. I absolutely love the color in this one. It is so pretty. I love it. It's like all fall vibes. I just want to sit on a rock and like fall asleep. It looks so peaceful. And I love how it came out. So this is in the Cobalt classes. I think it took four classes. It took 4 classes, but the first week in October, my daughter had a emergency like appendicitis, and so I couldn't paint that week. So yeah, it was just 4. She's doing great, by the way. She's fully recovered pretty much. She still has the little slits in her belly, but she's getting she's back to her normal giggly bubbly self, and yeah, so she's doing great. But anyways, so this took 4 classes, and it was just, I love the Cobalt sessions because there's no pressure to like keep on painting or stop painting if it's not finished. So for instance, last week I showed a picture, we were almost done. It didn't look much different than this, but I just felt that like 20 more minutes wasn't enough time to finish it out. We ended up painting for another hour and 15 minutes. And it just being able to fully finish it and feel good about finishing it makes me love this painting way more than if I would have just like hurried up and finished it. So yeah, I love the Cobalts. Thank you guys for supporting me in that tier. I love those classes. They're super relaxed, and I really, really enjoy them. But Hopefully, if you're not a patron, maybe you are thinking about it. I do have a free tutorial, Friday tutorial on there. It's one of my more popular ones. It's of, I think it's a flower or like a girl. What is it? It's a girl in like a sunflower field. It's one of my more popular ones. And that's actually like a free trial. Like you don't have to sign up for anything. I think you have to sign up for a Patreon like account, but you don't have to like pay anything. Where's my water? So if you wanted to try out a tutorial, please go on over there and try that out. It's a free tutorial for you guys, and yeah, so you can kind of try it out before going in. Okay, let's go ahead and round out this class. We get to put in all the color. This is the fun part. So let's go ahead and make our color first. We're going to make a couple different orange colors. You'll notice that each tree, if it was all the same color, then every tree that layered on top of itself, you would not see where it started and the next one ended. So you'll notice that each tree is the brightest on top and slowly gets darker. This is a key importance. This is really, really important for this type of painting, because if it's all one color, it's just going to be a mess of color, of the same color, and you're not going to be able to see the contrast or distinction from when one tree starts and the other one ends. So that's really important for this because it's just, if it's flat, then it's just going to be color. So if you have that contrast, if you have that differentiating color, it's going to be like 100% different. So let's go ahead and create our colors. We're going to create probably 2 to 3 different colors in our oranges. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some orange here. I think I'm going to need more orange than that. So, oops. We're just going to go ahead and put this right over here. Right. So we have orange, orange, and orange. I'm going to put black and brown in one. I'm just going to put brown in one, and then I'm going to put white and yellow in the next one. I think I'm going to need to put brown on all of them, or black in all of them though, because they're not as bright as they might seem. Okay, I think this is very close to like probably one of the more darker medium tone. So kind of have like a brownish color, and then let's go ahead and do this one. And this one doesn't have, I don't think this one has any brown in it, and you'll see that it's very much more of like a yellow tone, which is totally fine. We have 2 different tones, and that's totally okay. I'm gonna do some white and yellow and black. And that's actually gonna create a little bit of that green tone that we're seeing. Okay. Okay, I think the last thing I'm going to do is going to be yellow and orange and white, and it's going to be the very, very top. It's going to be the very top here. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to have to start from the top to the bottom because each one is layered. So we're moving from the front to the back. And I'm going to start off with this, sorry about the dog. I'm going to start off with this lightest color. And I'm going to put it up here. And I'm actually just going to put it kind of like around these, almost like it's the outline, because this is like what's behind. Gonna go into a little bit more of a yellow back here. We're putting in like the other side of the trees. Now I'm going to take this orange that's over here, our lightest orange, and I'm going to mix it a little bit with this light color, and this is what's going to go here. I think I'm going to gray it out a little bit. Again, we're putting in the back of these. I'm just kind of putting in what is the kind of the back end of these. I think that works. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and start off with the lightest color. I'm just going to use your brush. I'm mostly doing the tops of these, doing all the tops first. And as we move down, you're gonna get darker. And I'm going to take just a little bit of black, and I'm going to go side to side to kind of indicate that there are branches. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and use this middle tone color. And I'm mostly just using the corner of it. And you're going to put in some trees. And there's different types of trees. There's ones that are pointed. There's ones that kind of have a round top. If you want ones that kind of are like coming out, you'll turn this upside down and you'll use the natural roundness of this, of your brush to kind of give that element. And you can always come back in with a lighter tone. And give a little bit of definition too. When I'm going over the rock with a tree that's in front of the rock, just add a tiny bit of black to that, and that will help blend that in a bit. Alright, so I've been enjoying putting a light on one side and a dark on the other so that I can start off with my light at the tip, and then I'll rock back onto my darker. Alright, so you can just keep on doing that. You're going to keep coming back with some lighter. You can add a little bit of a lighter coat to some of your darker ones. You can add light to just the tip of it. I'm just going to go ahead and put this color on the top. I have a lighter orange color that we're going to put on all the tops of the trees. And it's okay if there's like random parts of trees sticking out and it kind of just ends into the abyss of the abyss of the black, because that's kind of, I mean, that's how this picture is. That's how these photos are. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of darkness to the back here. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of yellow. Feeling like I need just a little bit of yellow here. I'm only adding it to some of it. I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit more of this. I'm going to put in a little bit more of this black over here so that there's just a little bit more like contrast.
Is curtain over?
Yes, but you need it not be in here. Can you close the door, please? Thank you. Perfect. And anywhere else where you feel like maybe you put a little bit too much, you can always come back with that black. All right, so I'm going to grab some yellow and black, and that's actually going to make a little bit of a green. Greenish brown. And I'm gonna put a little bit of a green one in here. And then we can put some green on any of these other ones if we want. Maybe I'll put a green one there. I think I also want to put a just darker tree right here, kind of where it is in the picture. But I will need to fade it out with black. So I'm going to rinse this out, get a little bit more black. Although before I go back in the black, I'm going to go back into my my orange and finish out this section. All right. So I'm just going to fade that into some black right here. And any other parts that you feel like need more black, more contrast, you're just going to add it in. All right, so I'm just adding a little bit more black here at the bottom. All right, and for our last little detail, we're gonna grab a liner brush, grab some black.
Mom, we
Oh my goodness, you scared me. Liberty, hold on, my daughter just walked in. Oh, Liberty, I need you to go into the living room, please.
And I need to go potty.
Come here. Come here. Okay. Sorry about that. She had to go potty, and no one else was available to do that. Okay. Where were we? Okay, yes. So last little bit, we're gonna grab your liner brush, and you're gonna go ahead and add any other tree trunks or branches that just makes sense to have. If you need to add any other details that you would like to add. I want a little bit more darkness over here. All right, I'm gonna add a couple trunks here. And for the ones that are closer, like maybe you need to add them in little bits. It's not you can't see the whole thing, you know. All right, and we are all done. So thank you so much for joining me. We are gonna go ahead and finish this class. We have classes on my YouTube of other trees like this if you want more. If you would like more practice, you can go ahead and do that. If you did paint this, please let me know by going onto my Facebook, where you can put your picture of this in an album. And hi, daughter. Hi, Liberty. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go because my daughter is now in here. You can hear her in the bathroom. All right, have a great rest of your night, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.